Talk a little Cavs to wrap up today's show. If you want more Browns talk, the instant reaction, you can hear myself, Earl, and G. Bush on the postgame show. It's on our YouTube channel. Went for about an hour yesterday breaking down what we saw in the Browns loss to the Bears. Check it out on our YouTube page. 2-minute warning show. All right, guys, the Cavs stink. They lost to the Hornets last night. They became the first team in about a decade to go scoreless in an overtime period.
Didn't score a single point.
After the game, Donovan was asked if he heard the boos from the crowd, which came out during that overtime period. This is what Donovan had to say about that, and I quote, "I was a fan once. I would boo us too. We're not playing well. The city deserves better than what we have been giving. As long as we continue to stay in this locker room, we'll be all right." The loss to Charlotte comes on the heels of the Cavs losing Evan Mobley for 2 to 4 weeks with a calf strain. So, although they won on
and
Friday,
barely beating the Wizards.
Yep.
Barely. Won on
barely beating the Wizards.
Lucked into it.
So it was not a stellar weekend for the Cavs. Guys, if you were to, I don't want to say rank the three things in terms of severity, but coming into Friday's game, coming off that film session we talked about, Jay,
I thought that was going to make a difference,
and then laid
Mike.
an absolute egg to the fourth quarter. Needed a superhero Donovan Mitchell performance.
Yes, they did.
To carry them out of the depths in Washington. Then they lose to the Hornets, and they lose Evan Mobley. I'm not sure it could have been a much worse weekend for the Cleveland basketball team, I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I'll echo that. It couldn't have. I mean, they could have gone 0-2 and lost Mobley. But, man, I watched the overtime. I watched the last couple of minutes of regulation. And I honestly felt like, even when it was 15 points or whatever it was, I thought they're going to come back.
So did I.
And I was two-screening it. I was watching that on the phone while I was watching a football game. And I watched the comeback, and I saw them bring it even and even take a lead. But they give up a bad three with 4.5 seconds to go. They get a good shot from Donovan Mitchell. I'm surprised he didn't penetrate and get right to the rim. He can do that when he wants, almost at will.
Yeah, it was a decent shot at the buzzer.
It was a decent shot, but it was still like a 15-footer or whatever. I thought he settled.
He's got to.
I wanted to see him be Michael Jordan in that spot. I'm taking the ball to the rack, and you're not going to stop me, or you're going to foul me, and I'm going to hit free throws, and we're going to win the game. I was just super disappointed in their effort. And it was funny because they got some pretty good efforts from role players.
That's the
I thought
part.
Lonzo Ball, like when you, I think someone said Friday, I think Jason did, it's not because of the stars. The stars aren't carrying us. The role players are doing what they should do. The stars are not.
We were sitting there talking about that. It's not the role guys. It's not the dudes coming off.
They're getting some nice performances.
Jalen Tyson, to me, has been
double-double.
Jalen Tyson, I mean, the fact that they ran across this dude, he plays the game the right way. He plays hard. Yeah. He's tough-nosed. He remind me of a taller Josh Hart. You know what I'm saying? I like what he brings, and I like that he got that leadership quality to say, listen, man, we got to have our top flight starters and the first line dudes playing this tough. But the problem is this, man. It just seems I'm scared to say it, and I'll get your thoughts on them big Nuggets. When basketball stuff start happening like this, you start to hear things of they just need a shake up. They need a shake up somewhere in the roster. Somewhere they need to tweak.
I think they do.
They need to tweak something because it's ran its course. We know how these pieces fit together, and to me, I think it's more evident than ever that their core identity of what they have with Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Jared Allen is not working because you're now paying Evan Mobley like a max guy. Darius Garland is paid like a max guy, and with the restrictions, and I'm saying it's restrictions with Garland is restrictions with his size and his health.
Yep.
I don't think that you can count on him with being a guard that's a quick twitch back and forth guy. I don't think you can count on him in that toe. I just don't.
I'm getting concerned about that too. Mike, what was he, 0 for 11 Friday night from 3-point
he played well
range?
last night, though.
No, I know, but Donovan was awful last night from distance.
I know, and this is a stat. This is Steve, go up one. Donovan, good Don versus bad Don. When Don scores 35 points this year, they're 8-1.
Okay.
He scores less than 21, they're 0-5. They have needed Donovan Mitchell to be a superhero to win games this season. The beauty of the Cavs last year was they didn't need Don to be a superhero. Everyone else was contributing. They were getting contributions up and down the roster. This year, when Don hasn't played well, they have not won basketball games. And it is not fair to ask any player in the NBA, especially a player on the most expensive roster in basketball, to need to be superhuman every game to beat subpar teams.
Especially when he's got 2 other max players on the roster.
Exactly.
How in the world does it come down to he's got to be great or they don't win?
I'm scared.
The other guys haven't. They're not doing enough.
This is not the Cavs when LeBron was here, the first time.
Yeah.
When he was dragging guys to the finals.
Come on, Booby.
I mean,
follow me to the
This
finals.
is a team. Donovan's a great player, but there's supposed to be other dudes here carrying their weight.
The guys, like even when you start, take a look at this. DeAndre Hunter, right? We got to have a conversation, DeAndre. You're not out here to score and be cute. Your job is
not playing on the Hawks anymore, buddy.
Bro, your job is to come out here and play defense, rebound, and get the other things. I don't know what that is. What you're shooting 30 from 3.
He broke someone's ankle earlier this year,
and then it was
and now he thinks
still
he's
living off it.
And one mixtape game. And the scary part to me is the worst thing that you can ever hear in the NBA is this: calf strain.
No, you're right.
No. Listen, that is an injury that does not heal. That is, strain is a layman's term for a slight tear. And the way that the Achilles heals is an epidemic. Go look at Halliburton, calf strain. Go look at the rest of these guys who eventually
Durant, calf strain.
All these calf strains, and they sit them out for these long weeks and months, and they come back and seem to be fine. And I'm not wishing injury on nobody, but when you got a long, lanky athlete, 7 foot guys, and now you're asking Evan Mobley to be more athletic. You want him shooting more. You want him guarding more. You want him handling him more. You know what that all involves? Change of direction, high torque on that calf. And when I heard that, I said, oh, goodness. We have to figure something out, because I don't think now you put it in a situation where you got a toe from Darius Garland that any given those linger. And now you got the calf strain from Evan Mobley. And now you got Donovan Mitchell, and we know how Donovan Mitchell is. He built different, but he breaks down when he has to carry teams like that, and he's shown that over his career. So I don't know what Kenny does, because ain't no help coming. Ain't no
this roster is,
and they cashed out.
Mike, can they do? And I don't see what they could do.
So right now, as it stands today at it's 12:44 on December 15th. They're $22 million into the second apron.
Oh my God!
They're the most expensive roster in basketball. There are ways to make trades as a second apron team, but you are restricted heavily by those second apron constraints. Right now, the Cavs' probably best path to shaking things up is to try and shed $22 million to get into just the first apron. So then you have a little more flexibility to make a bigger level move. But there's not a salary that you can just dump. Like even Jared Allen, for example, right? I'll just use use it as an example. He's making $20 million this year. So if you were to trade Jared Allen for a second-round pick, right? Let's just say a team would be willing to give you a second-round pick for Jared Allen, and they had $20 million in cap space to absorb.
3 rebounds.
He had 3 rebounds, Mike.
He was on minutes restriction last night. Don't look at that as he first came back on a minutes restriction.
Yeah,
but I'm just using him as an example.
It looks like every other game, guys.
Just using him as an example. Even if they were to literally give Jared Allen to another team for a second-round pick and take Jared Allen's contract off the books, there's still $2 million in the second apron. You're not out. Then you got to trade someone else without taking on enough money to keep your – it's very complicated. Is it possible? Yes. It is very complicated, and just saying trade X and Y, there's a lot more factors that kind of have to go into it than it seems. I think the Cavs'
Kobe's going to earn his paycheck here, man, because I think he has to do something drastic. And in the past, he's done it, and he's earned our trust, I think, to this point by making some pretty good moves.
Well, he pulled off DeAndre Hunter last year.
But this is not, guys. This is not working, and they have to do something. They need to do something jarring.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because you look at and he has to. You got to think of it like this. There's no way that you can have the Boston Celtics who don't have Tatum, and Pacers don't have Halliburton
right now, right?
And they're coming in here and they're beating you. They're like you're letting Pritchard hit you for 40. That
You know what hurts me
They're
the
the- they're
worst?
the 3 seed in the
what
East,
hurts
G.
me the worst is we run JB out of here because he wasn't any good, and he's got Detroit sitting firmly in the 1.
Yep.
yeah, during they got.
You know the
look, man,
difference, Jay, real quick is?
What?
So not difference, but JB, the one thing he did, and he
Defense.
had his shortcomings as well, but
Yep.
you played hard as hell
Defense.
every time JB was on the court.
He
Every
made
time
you.
JB put a team on the court, they played hard.
Yeah.
Now, part of that was the Cavs were a younger team.
Right.
They were a hungrier, less proven team. A lot of those guys were still earlier in their careers.
And JB does well with those.
And
types.
that's the kind of team that JB has thrived with.
That's why he's thriving in Detroit.
Last year, Kenny came in, and effort was never an issue for the Cavs last year.
No.
It wasn't. This year, I do think it has been. a
Man.
legitimate
They
issue.
don't resemble last year's team
Boy.
to me if I squint hard.
No, and I
They
think
don't resemble that team.
And I wonder, I don't have an answer. And we've asked and we've gotten the same kind of lip service anytime you ask. I wonder if after they heard all summer that the regular season is irrelevant and this team's only going to be judged based on what they do in the playoffs in April, May, and June, if they just came into this season with the regular season doesn't matter approach, which is not the right approach to have. I want to emphasize that is
Yeah.
not the right
Where
approach
are they
to
right
have.
now? The 8?
They are currently tied with Atlanta as the 8th seed in the East.
They're a playing team right now.
Let me tell
And they
you.
were and they were the betting favorite to win the East.
Let me tell
They're
you.
also one game
Wow.
out of being the 3 seed. So
Let me
it
tell you
shows
this.
That's
how-
encouraging.
Yeah.
So here's how this works. Hey, I'm gonna tell you about how money work. Donovan been rich. You know what I'm saying? He on his second. But Darius Garland got a max. Evan Mobley got a max. Jared Allen is getting paid like a star.
$20 million.
Like, so when you getting them bags, when they give you that bag and that bag, now listen, Odell can go broke, but these NBA, them NBA,
Different deal, dude.
them NBA dudes, when you get
There's no story. There's not a lot of stories about NBA guys going broke.
when you get the max, it's a reason why once you get that max, they throw you a birthday party.